Okay, well, today we are going to talk about hermeneutics, the science of interpretation, another very important concept to understand the ideas of modern thinkers. And as a matter of fact, hermeneutics has its origin in German theologians. Friedrich Schleiermacher was the first who actually contributed to this field, and his idea was that the basic problem that hermeneutics confronts is that while the words of a text written in the past, such as the Bible, remains constant, the context that predicts those words no longer exists. The purpose of hermeneutics is to reconstruct that context for the proper understanding of words. Wilhelm Dilthey, who was also influenced by the idea of hermeneutics propounded by Friedrich Schleiermacher, he also pointed out that we should lay the foundations of hermeneutics on scientific basis for the purpose of studying human sciences. He maintained that the purpose of hermeneutics is understanding, not explaining. It means understanding is concerned with the human sciences and explaining with natural sciences, according to him. And that means he was of the view that natural sciences are concerned with non-human world. And humanly produced objects such as written texts come to life in the process of interpretation. That is a process of hermeneutics. Dilthey also confronted the problem of hermeneutics circle. That is, in order to understand a text, one must have the idea of its whole meaning. And this whole meaning cannot be developed unless one understands it in parts. Constant interplay and feedback between the parts and the whole helps us to overcome this hermeneutic circle. Impact of the philosophy of Martin Heidegger is also very important to mention over here. Martin Heidegger was the thinker who actually believed that historical and temporal situations of the interpreter can never be excluded from the hermeneutic, and thus there is no escape from the hermeneutic circle. Now, if we talk about hermeneutic circle, it simply means that constant emergence of new ideas from text. That means interpretation is dynamic and ever changing from time to time and place to place. In Truth and Method, Hans-Georg Gadamer argues that the past can be grasped only by relating it to the present. Modern thinkers believe that it is not only restoring the past meaning of the text with the particular reference to the historical context in which it occurred, but also the modern concepts that question and undermine that meaning that constitute the discipline of hermeneutics. I mean, we have to remember here the ideas presented by Derrida, ideas of deconstruction, difference, and hyperreality by Jean Baudrillard. These ideas also point out that meaning is something that keeps changing with the emergence of new facts, and resultantly, hermeneutic is a process that keeps on going forever. So the hermeneutic circle is something that will never stop. Siding with Schleiermacher and Dilthey, E.D. Hirsch opposes the idea of Heidegger, and Hans-Georg considering them not hermeneutics but relative thinkers that believe in relativism. E.D. believes it to be a moral duty of an interpreter to find the meaning of a text in its exact historical context. He believes that there is a difference between meaning and signification. Meaning exists in historical context, but significance of that meaning may be seen with the reference to the present in which it is being composed. R.D. Jewell also goes with the classical view of hermeneutics, but he introduces the concept of the intentionality of its author, that the true intention of author should also be evidenced, should also be kept in mind, along with pointing out historical conditions and contexts that triggered those intentions. Writing involves self-alienation, an idea that was presented by Hans-Georg Gadamer. To overcome this alienation, text is read and understood. When a text is transformed back into language, it establishes its relation with its meaning, the object for which it was written. Hermeneutical task starts only when a text is deciphered. That means what has been deciphered is interpreted. So to Gadamer, self-alienation in the process of writing simply means that a writer detaches itself from history when he writes something, and it is the reader who comes to the text with historical understanding and interprets it or deciphers it with that historical background. What a text says should not be generalized, it only has to be seen in its specific